Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you. We will begin our regularly scheduled City Council meeting momentarily, but before we do, we have a public hearing on two ordinances, or one charter amendments that were read for a first reading at the last City Council meeting. This evening, these charter resolutions will stand a public hearing before we put them on a future agenda for a council meeting once they stand the required time to be advertised. So the first charter resolution public hearing is going to be on Charter Resolution 293 concerning requiring budget amendments by ordinance. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and the Havre Grace City Charter, Sections 19, amending in part Section 37F and 19A of the City Charter, generally pertaining to the budget amendments, repealing the requirement that budget amendment be approved by resolution, requiring budget amendments be approved by ordinance. Did anyone this evening come here tonight to speak on Charter Amendment Resolution 293? Any comments from the council? Okay. Without any comments from the public or the council, I now close public hearing on Charter Resolution 293 at 7:05. Second public hearing this evening will be on Charter Resolution number 294 concerning authorizing certain personnel to enter into certain agreements. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Maryland Constitutional Article 11E, the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and the Havre, Grace City Charter, Section 19, amending in part Section 37G of the City Ordinance, authorizing certain personnel to enter into certain agreements, authorizing the creation of administration rules and procedures to carry out subsection. Is anyone in the audience this evening here to speak on public hearing for the Charter Amendment Resolution number 294? Any comments from the council? Okay. Without any comments from the public or comments from the council, I now close public hearing on Charter Amendment Resolution 294. The time is 7:06. Ladies and gentlemen, I now call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. The date is May 15th, 2023. The time is now 7:07 p.m. I will call the roll. Council President Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Shanegas.
Here.
And Councilmember Martin is absent this evening. Okay. Would anybody please be kind enough to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing, as it gives me great honor and privilege to invite up Pastor Yvonne Austin of Agape Church. Thank you so much for joining us in such an important evening for the city. Thank you.
Yes. God bless you all. Let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Dear and wise, loving Heavenly Father, let us first say unto you tonight, thank you, on behalf of all who have gathered here tonight to come before your throne of grace and in your presence. Thank you for your manifold abundant blessings upon the city of Havre Grace that you have given unto us all daily. Thank you for the gift of life itself and the love that you have given all of us through your merciful, boundless, and gracious nature. Now, Lord, we are all here tonight to thank you for the ability to be involved in the useful work of the servant leadership of this council on tonight. It's an honor and a privilege, and we believe that it's an opportunity to show our government responsibilities. So your scripture has said, Lord, that you would bless those who are in the position of authority. And Lord, we thank you that you have given all of those who are in authority today to promote peace, order, and justice. So therefore, Lord, I want to say a special prayer for Mayor Martin. Lord, we thank you for his ability and for his servitude unto our city, and the various officials that are here with him tonight, in particular, the assembly of the city council. So Lord, this is what I ask for all of them, to give them wisdom as they navigate the conflicting issues and interests of this city with clear hearts and clear minds in the spirit of unity. Give them confidence, O God, with sensitivity of the welfare of the true needs of this city of Havre Grace and our residents. And then lastly, Lord, for their personal peace, as they all have individual lives and family, as they do this daily task. Bless them as they bless our community. Now, Lord, we thank you for a smooth execution on tonight, oh God. Thank you for all that you're doing, and we give you all honor and praise that is due to your name. In Jesus' name, and everybody say amen. Amen. God bless you.
Pastor Austin, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and thank you again, Pastor Austin. We appreciate your very kind words and your prayer. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Before we move on, normally it's tradition when we have fellow public servants in the audience from other offices, we always like to recognize them. I'd like to start off by recognizing our very own District F representative, Mr. Jacob Bennett, who's here with us this evening. Thank you, Jacob, for being here. Of course, we're also honored to have our delegates who represent us down in Annapolis. Steve Johnson, Adane Johnson, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you. And we're also honored to have the Vice President of the Board of Education, Hartford County, Mr. Wade Sewell, who's here this evening. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We have the Council President from the City of Aberdeen here also, Mr. Adam Hyam. How could I forget that? All right. One of my former students from a couple years ago. All right. Good to have you here, Adam. Nothing going on in Aberdeen tonight, right? Everything's good? Got it? Okay, good. All right. Okay, Council, we're going to go to item 5, which is approval of the minutes from the last council meeting on May 1st, 2023. City Council meeting minutes, May 1st, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. City Council meeting minutes of May 1st, 2023 are approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Item B, City Council hearing minutes on the tax rate and water and sewer rate ordinances from May 8th, 2023. Council, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comments on those minutes? Councilmember Zinner.
I wasn't here for the meeting, so I will not be voting.
Duly noted. Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The City Council public hearing minutes of the tax rate, water, sewer rate ordinance of May 2023. Those minutes are approved 5-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to item number 6. Item number 6 is comments from citizens. This is the part of the evening's agenda. If you're here to speak on anything that is an agenda item, now's the time to do so. It's also the time, if you're here to speak on any other matter of city business, now's the time to do so. So normally what I do first is if anybody went online or filled out a form first, I'll call those citizens. Once those citizens speak, I'll open up the floor at large if anybody wishes to address the council. First person I'd like to call up is Sarah King. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Ms. King, and welcome to the City Council meeting. May you please have your name and address for the record.
My name is Sarah King, and I live at 564 Bailiff Road, Northeast Maryland.
Welcome.
Thank you. Actually, what I'm here for this evening is we've tried to meet up a couple times, and I spoke with Adam today, and I asked him to forward some information to each of you guys about a petition that I had started.
Sure.
About the revitalization and the change in the parking. I have a small business downtown, and I feel like that's going to be impacted by the change in the parking, and a lot of handicapped people, elderly people come into that shop. So I feel like it's really going to be detrimental. I've also asked that if, in the paper that I said, that if you guys could, I just want to read it. It says, "We, the undersigned residents and business owners of Havre Grace, request the City Council, in collaboration with the Mayor, commission a comprehensive independent parking study to determine the impact of the proposed downtown revitalization plan on parking. The availability and accessibility is affected in the area of Washington Street and Pennington Avenue. As concerned citizens, we believe that the potential loss of roughly 70 parking places due to this plan may significantly affect the quality of life, economic vitality of our community, particularly our senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and property owners in adjacent streets."
Any questions? Ms. King, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I spoke with Mr. Ruchinsky earlier, and he did say he was going to forward that to the council in the morning.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Ms. King. I'd like to call Mr. Edgar Rono. Good evening, sir, and welcome to the council meeting. May you please have your name and address for the record.
My name's Ed Garono. I live at 908 South Washington Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. I know all of you, and outside of this room, I consider us friends. But inside this room, you are legislators for the city. I am disappointed with the legislation that passed last council meeting to give a special discount on the Star Center to Parks and Recreation. As I understand it, the Star Center is operating under a city budget. If it doesn't break even, city taxpayers have to make up the difference, any loss that may occur. I commend Mrs. Boyer for mentioning that everyone's fiduciary duty here is to the city and the taxpayers. In fact, I understand that there's going to be a reminder for everybody of their oath of office later on this evening, if I'm not mistaken. Parks and Recreation is a great and important special interest group. I'm all for supporting them. But is it fair to give them, or do they really need, a 50% discount when, number one, the city is already granting them $56,000 annually? Last year, they had a budget surplus of $46,000, which is approximately the discount that legislation gave to them. And that they have $300,000 in reserves. It was also said that Havre Grace Parks and Recreation charges some of the lowest registration fees to participants around, and that roughly 50% of the kids are not members of families who are taxpayers. One of the advantages that they also get is that I think I was told that the Parks and Recreation gets a scheduling priority for any Star Center venues that they need. And finally, in the past, Parks and Rec used to hold fundraisers to raise additional funds when needed. I am sure that city taxpayers on fixed incomes with no children would much rather see a fundraiser than pay additional taxes if the Star Center does not break even. I'm frustrated that special interest groups come to the city asking for money like the city is a source of unlimited revenue, and evidently some of our legislators think so as well. I'm not against helping kids. I'm for kids helping themselves instead of going to the government when they need something. I'm against financial mismanagement. Another concern in this case was it seemed that you were rushed that night, that this was sprung upon you late in the process and pushed to be voted on that evening in spite of an effort to table it for further study and discussion. I'm sure Election Day, the next day, didn't have anything to do with that, but I could hear the political calculations in your comments that were given during this session. Finally, my biggest concerns is that once you grant a special privilege to one group, other groups will want a discount too. Just as it was rationalized that this discount by citing a discount offered to the Opera House group. I encourage you not to grant any more discounts to anyone. Let the Star Center get its budget to break even, and let the sun set on this amendment. Someone needs to stand up for the city taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grona. That's the last filled out form I have for speakers. I will now call the floor in general. If anybody wishes to speak, please raise your hand and be recognized. Okay, any comments from the council? All right, we will move on. Item number 7, appointments. This evening we have no appointments. Item 8, recognitions. This evening we have no recognitions. Item 9, proclamations. And we do have something to proclaim this evening. It happens every year. This is Emergency Medical Services Week. And I bet most people didn't realize that, but it's true, and it's happening right here. May 21st to 27th is happening next week. And I'm supposed to hand it off to the famous John Paul Carreri, but I see 2 other distinguished members in the audience this evening, so I'm guessing you're going to receive it. Pete, come on up, please.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Carreri, former Councilman Carreri, former Mayor Carreri, called with his regrets earlier. He was not physically able to make it this evening.
All right. Well, John, if you're home watching this, you stood us up, John. You owe us one, all right? Well, we have the next best thing. So, Council President, please join us.
You are prettier. You're prettier than
You can't hear me. I'm on a microphone right now. We'll stand right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, Pete, if you wouldn't mind just giving just a quick 30-second overview of what EMS Week means, why we observe it every year.
EMS Week is something that we're very proud to start, and it's where we get to say thank you to all the providers and people in EMS who come out on a daily basis at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon to help our citizens and throughout here and other areas. It's a little time to say a little thank you because a lot of times they don't get thank yous. They do their job, they do a great job, but no one's there shaking their hands. So this is our time that we get to do that.
Thank you. Well said. Council President, anything you want to say about EMS Week?
Well, when I was in the ambulance corps, we didn't have the EMS week, which we had, but
Did we have gas ambulances?
We were actually down in the Blue Building down on Revolution. So, and then we moved, I was in college and moved back up there, but I just remember my time back at Debbie and Vince and all them and council.
Love to have it.
Councilmember Boyer? Councilmember Boyer is the liaison to the Public Safety Committee. Thank you. Well, I just want to say, so the Havre Ambulance Corps, can you please tell the public, when you go on a call, what is the average time from the time you leave your house to the time you come home?
It can be anywhere from about an hour, hour and a half. It's usually. If we get stuck at a hospital, it could be.
That happens more and more anymore, doesn't it?
It's happening an awful lot more.
So when you get that call at 1 o'clock in the morning and you have to work the next day, sometimes you can just say goodbye to sleep that day, right?
You can.
That's right. So it's very important that we at least take 1 second to think about the men and women who, in our community, who give up sleep, sometimes even call out work the next day. I know people and give up their own time because they went to answer a call for someone who needed help. So again, for myself and the council and the citizens of Havre de Grace, thank you for representing the Ambulance Corps today. And like I said, the same can be said for the men and women of Susquehanna Hose Company. You get the calls all during the night, and we're very grateful in Havre de Grace that we have great people. So thank you. May I read this into the record for you? City of Havre de Grace, Maryland, proclamation, Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill the gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. Whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. Whereas the members of emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, I, William T. Martin, Mayor City of Havre de Grace, along with the members of the City Council, proclaim the week of May 21st to 27th, Emergency Medical Services Week for the City of Havre de Grace, signed by myself and the members of the council. Give that to you. Have a quick photo. We will proceed to item number 10. This evening, we have one presentation, and this is a standard tradition on the night that we swear our new council in, that we always get the official election results read by the chair of the election board. And I'd like to call forward Mr. Nick Galaro. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. House says the results of our city election.
on second from 7 p.m. Action. It didn't feel like 13 hours. South of 9%. That night, the unofficial tallies were read. Days later, we met on board under the auspices of the Harford County elections and under oath. We opened up absentee ballots and provisionals. That altered the outcome. So the totals: Johnny Boker, this is alphabetically, Johnny Boker, 522. Sharon Brown Jacobs, 396. Mickey Jones, 421. Donna Kasnick, 187. David Martin, 419. Jason Robertson, 568. Rich Wenner, 155. The write-ins were 12. The ballot question passed by 809. Noes were 104. So I think this shows, excuse me, I'm choking here, that every vote counts, every single vote counts. For people who think it doesn't matter, it does, because of the absentee ballots that came in. It changed the seat by 2 votes. So those who want to work with the young, please convince them voting is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you. And thank your team for all the work they do. Councilmember Boyer?
Can you tell us how many registered voters we currently have at the start of the election?
11,500. I think the voting population is 13,500.
Thank you.
Very well. We will move on to item 11 this evening. Item 11 is going to be resolutions. We have a resolution, calendar resolution to be read and voted on this evening. We're going to hand that off to Council President Ringsacker.
Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens all, I move to introduce a calendar resolution to authorize termination of the Urban County Entitlement Program cooperation agreement with Harford County.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President, second by Councilmember Robertson. This is a motion to introduce a resolution concerning to authorize the termination of the Urban County Entitlement Program Cooperation Agreement with Harford County. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 5-0 in the affirmative. This will be a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, pursuant to the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and sections 33 and 34 of the city charter, authorizing the mayor to terminate the Urban County Entitlement Program Cooperation Agreement with Harford County. This will be known as Resolution 2023-06, 2023-06. Council, I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-06.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Robertson, seconded by the Council President. Question or comments? Council President?
So many years ago, it sounds like we're ending an entitlement program or not. So we were in an MOU with the county since many, many years ago. Was it 1982, was it, or?
It's been some time. It gets renewed every 3 years.
Okay. So basically, this allowed the county to run their own grant funding program, and we basically just jumped in with them to try to get the grants through the county and then to the state. Because of this amazing staff we have now that are doing such a wonderful job writing grants, we actually think that we're doing better writing them ourselves. So we're going to end this MOU with the county, and we're going to go with our own staff. Enough said?
Councilman Robertson?
Yeah, just to add to Council President, if you look back at City Resolution 1996-04, which is what this current resolution is kind of superseding. It's basically when the CDBG grant program was established. Nationally, counties were able to opt in, and in order to benefit from that, a municipality had to be declared an urban area. And, you know, this it's basically an agreement, like Steve said, it renews every 3 years. But as being part of that agreement with the county would be the one that would go out and solicit grants for us on our behalf. Page 3 of that resolution reads that you may not apply for grants from appropriations under the small cities or state CDBG programs for fiscal years during the period in which it participates in the urban county CDBG program. So basically, we can't apply for grants on our own without going through the county as long as we're a part of this. So as CP said, I think the staff has done a tremendous job going after grants, and it seems like something that we would want to pursue. It opens doors for the city itself.
Thank you very much, Council President. Councilman Robertson, any other comments? Mr. Brzezinski, just to clarify, so Council President, Councilmember Robertson were correct on their statements. The amounts given, were we like $60,000 a year or something like that?
Approximately $60,000, between 60 and 65.
Correct.
That's pretty much been that amount since 1996.
Right, so what we normally do is, as Councilman Robertson said by resolution, to get a guaranteed 60 to 65,000 a year, we give up the right to apply for our own grants. So normally what we would do, the county would guarantee us at least that much every year. We would wait 2 or 3 years when we would have more money saved up, and then we would find something good to do with it. But that was, you know, a long time ago. That was 1996. We believe that, we believe with our staff now, we believe with the way the state is allocating funds for different projects, we think if we got out of this agreement, that we'd have a better chance to pursue additional funding above the locked-in rate that the county would give us. So again, I thank my council colleagues for the clarification. Mr. Brzezinski, thank you for the amount. So I hope the council considers a favorable vote to relieve us from this resolution, and so we can pursue higher possible funding for projects in our city. Any other questions or comments? Okay, council, without any further questions or comments, I'd like to have a roll vote on resolution 2023-06. Councilmember Schnegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Council President Ringstocker.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-0 in affirmative, counter resolution 2023-06 is approved and adopted by council. Thank you, council. We're going to go to item number 12, which is resolutions. I'm sorry, not resolution, ordinances, laws. This evening we have 4 ordinances on the docket. Each one of these ordinances are second readings. We're going to start with ordinance number 1105. Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I move to introduce ordinance number 1105 concerning amending City Code Chapter 25, Board, Committees, and Commissions for second reading and adoption.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1105 on second reading. Motion to introduce 1105 on second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1105 carries 5-0 in the affirmative. 1105 is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend City Code 25, Boards, Committees, Commissions, Article 1, Section 25-0, Duty to Report. Council, to have a motion to adopt 1105 on second reading.
So moved.
A motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Council President?
All right, this ordinance, what it does is it removes the requirement for our boards and commissions and committees to gather together once a year and report everything to the council. We're allowing different leeway for them to show up and report at different times, even by official letter to the council or by showing up in person. So you're just amending the method in which we're handling it. Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Very well. Council, I will do a roll call vote on 1105 second reading. Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
Council President Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer. Yes. By a roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1105 is adopted by council on second reading. Item B, Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, back once again. I move to introduce ordinance number 1106 concerning delegating additional administrative duties to the Director of Administration for second reading and adoption.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Zinner. This is a motion to introduce 1106 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1106 on second reading carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Ordinance 1106, an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, in sections 18, 33, 34, and 48 of the Havre Grace City Charter to delegate to the Director of Administration additional administrative duties. Council, do I have a motion to adopt 1106 on second reading?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Boyer.
Shenagus.
I'm sorry, Shenagus. I looked right at you and called you Boyer. I'm sorry.
We gotta get your me thing out.
He was reading the name tag.
I already said earlier I'm going to mess up with Boyer and Boker.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. Questions or comments on 1106? Council President.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to defer to the Chief Administration, Director of Administration, sorry.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, so this is just kind of cleaning up some of the charter and also the our ordinances, which would allow the Director of Administration to enter into contracts, things that we have been doing for some time. However, we didn't have it codified. This would not include anything that's outside the scope of the budget. So council sort of gets the bite of the apple with passing the budget. Then the Director of Administration would then be able to execute those contracts that would be within the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Camatoria. Council President, the floor is still yours.
I yield, sir.
Okay. Any other further questions or comments on 1106? Okay. Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on 1106. Council Member Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner. Yes. Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1106 concerning delegating additional administrative duties to the Director of Administration is adopted and approved on second reading. Item C, Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce ordinance number 1107 on second reading.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Council President Ringsager. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1107 on second reading concerning the tax rates. Questions or comments on this ordinance on introduction? All those in favor say aye.
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 All against say nay. Motion to introduce 1107 on second reading carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Ordinance 1107, an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the authority provided by the annotated Code of Maryland Tax Property Article Title VI, and the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland, fixing the tax rate for for the fiscal year, July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024 on each $100 of assessable real property, personal property, and providing additional special tax levied within the critical area special taxing district and setting the service charge for the semi-annual property tax payment option. Council, to have a motion to adopt ordinance 1107 on second reading.
So, second.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, second by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to point out that this is no change than other ordinances that we've voted on regarding taxes. The tax rate remains the same regardless of the amounts that we put forward to support events in the city. They've increased over time, but the tax rate has remained stable for several years now. And I don't see any reason why that should change in the near future based on current trends and basically the way we watch the budget and hope to watch the budget in the future.
Thank you, Councilmember Zinner. Councilmember Robertson.
Yeah, just for those unaware, the city has to set the tax rates every year. That's part of the budgeting process that becomes effective into law in June of each year for the fiscal year that runs July to June. So this ordinance is just setting the tax rate, and if you've become accustomed to what you're paying, as far as the rate's concerned, rest easy, the rate remains the same, as Councilmember Zinner mentioned.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Ordinance 1107 on second reading concerning the tax rate. Roll call vote. Councilmember Robertson.
Aye.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Shanegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1107, setting the city tax rate for fiscal year 2024, is adopted and approved by council, 5-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to our last ordinance for the evening, which is the water and sewer rates. Second reading, it's ordinance 1108. Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce ordinance number 1108 on second reading.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Robertson, second by Councilmember Shanegas. Motion to introduce 1108 concerning water and sewer rates for a second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1108 concerning the water and sewer rates for fiscal year 2024 is approved on introduction to second reading. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland, sections 33 and 34 of the Havre, Grace City Charter, City Code, Chapter 196, and Exhibit thereto, establishing the city water and sewer rates and service participation fees for the users of the city water and sewer system. Council will have a motion to adopt 1108 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Robertson, second by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Similarly to the tax rate ordinance, setting the water sewer rates for the year is also a requirement. This year we'll see a 10% increase in rates. That's the first increase or adjustment in 5 years. That's mostly due to inflation and the costs of operations going up and producing water. We're very hopeful, Council President Hyob, that once Aberdeen gets their stuff together on their side and becomes a major purchaser of water from the city of Havre de Grace, that we should be able to create some downward pressure on our own rates. So take that home with you, will you?
Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments? And just to piggyback off what Councilmember Zinner, go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Please.
Yes, there had been some public comment about this, and there's always concerns for individuals who either live alone or are on fixed incomes in terms of water and sewer rates. However, the amount that we are raising the rates is consistent with the economy today. All the materials are rising, and they're rising at a significant rate. And when I say materials, I'm talking about the chemicals involved. This year, I think we all got a letter from Comcast indicating that they were going to raise our rates, and they did. And when they do, they raise it on a monthly basis. When the city raises rates for water and sewer, they raise it on a quarterly basis. And the impact is not as significant as it is with cable television. And I had spoken one night indicating that I would rather have clean water, safe water, than watch some of the cable shows that are on TV today. We don't have a choice with that. They feed it to us, and our only choice is to turn it off, but they still charge us for it. With the city, we can't turn off the water. We don't want to turn off the water, but we still need to charge for anything that's over and above what has been budgeted for in previous years. So I hope everyone understands, and I do understand about individuals who are on fixed incomes or who live alone and feel that their rate is high. But we try to be as equitable as possible in terms of what we charge for these water rates. So I just hope everybody understands and can accept it in the fashion that it's being presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Appreciate your comments. Any further questions or comments? I just want to remind everybody, and Councilmember Robertson, Councilmember Zinner said it very well. The Water and Sewer Fund is an enterprise fund. It's not run by your tax dollars from your house. It has to basically operate on its own. And if you've been following anything over the last 8 years, you know that we've talked about it a lot, and we have dumped a lot of money. I mean, probably over $20 million at least into infrastructure. Some of it from the revenues of the Water and Sewer Fund, some of it from bond bills that the citizens approved at the ballot. I think when everyone reflects about water and sewer, when you think about a century ago, when most cities in this country were being modernized with electricity and running water and sewer, a lot of people put pipes in the ground and never thought they'd ever need replaced. And here we are a century later, more than a century later, and they do. They need replaced. Sure, I mean, there's some terracotta pipes in the city that are for sewer that, God bless them, they've held up for over a century. Some of them have not. Some of them have crumbled. But even the best laid water line, you could have an 8-inch water line that was put down, in 1915, and just from the calcium, mineral deposits inside of it, it just starts to shrink inside. It's called calcium, tuberculation. And so a lot of these water lines are old, and they're not necessarily dangerous, but some of them are collapsing, and we're having water breaks left and right. So we've made a very good effort as an administration and as a council to address these concerns. So hopefully at least the next 2 to 3 generations doesn't have to worry about it until they responsibly fix them 100 years from now. But everyone, just want everybody to know that we've been able to hold the line for the last 5 years. But I think everyone in this room realizes just how crazy inflation's getting in this country. And it's not because we're just arbitrarily deciding, hey, what the heck, everything else is going up, and let's raise water rates too. I mean, we all know that a hash brown costs $2.69 now, right, at McDonald's. Isn't that crazy? It used to be 2 for $1. Anyway, but the fact is, that's true. The fact is, the price for materials to treat the water, deliver the water, the employment, all these things have had a toll. So we raise it 10%, which is about $1.50 for 1,000 gallons. 1,000 gallons. So right now, I'm going to throw a number at you. So if this is approved on a roll call vote, on your water bill, 1,000 gallons of fresh drinking water sent to your house will cost you $6.20. But to send it back to treat it through the wastewater treatment system by our wastewater treatment plant, which is the best on the Chesapeake Bay, and puts it into the bay cleaner than we got it, will cost $10.20. So it's a total of $17 for 1,000 gallons. So it's gone up about $1.50 for 1,000 gallons. So just wanted to let everybody at home kind of just think about it. Now, that's not the only thing on your water bill. Sometimes you have bay restoration fees for $30, and if you don't live in a gated community, you'll pay the tipping fee for your trash and things like that. Take a look at your water bill. There's other things on it, but I just want it to be honest and clear to everybody what you're going to be paying for 1,000 gallons sent to your house and sent back to the city treatment plant. So I promise you, the Water and Sewer Commission, this administration, this council works really hard to efficiently judge any rate whatsoever. But this one's necessary just to keep things going. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Councilmember Robertson and Councilmember Zinner, for your comments as well. Without any further comments, I'm going to do a roll call vote on Ordinance 1108. Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson. Yes. Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
A roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative. Ordinance number 1108 concerning the fiscal year 2024 water and sewer rates is adopted and approved by council on second reading. Item 13 this evening, old business. We have no old business. And item 14 is business from the mayor. So we're going to do a quick rundown on some council comments real quick before we adjourn the 2022 to 2023 legislative session. I just have a couple things to say. And most of my comments have to do with Councilmember Zinner, since you'll be saying farewell this evening to the council. And Councilmember Martin is actually on a vacation with his wife. And regardless, had he won or lost the election, this vacation was planned for quite some time. So I want to let everyone know it's not because he lost that he's not here tonight. This was planned ahead of time. So first I want to talk about Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Martin was elected in 2015. He ran with me when I first ran for mayor in 2015 as well. We've had a lot of fun with the name change, and I've had so many people in the last 2 weeks tell me, I'm so sorry about your dad losing his election. Which isn't as bad as people tell me I'm sorry about your brother. So I'm like, I looked at it anyway. But the dad's better. But it's always been a good joke. People say to me, well, I voted for you for mayor in case you don't, or I voted for you for council in case you don't win as mayor. And people that always confused. But Dave Martin was just a guy who moved to Havre de Grace, who loved Havre de Grace, like we all do when we move here and we fall in love with it. And when I ran for mayor, he introduced himself to me. We met at Coakley's one night and had a sandwich, and he told me why he was going to run. I'm thinking, well, gosh darn it, I can't think of a better reason to run. He just wanted to serve the city. And he did for 8 years. And he did a good job. One of the things I was very grateful for Councilmember Martin for, he had a love for Maryland Municipal League. If you don't know what that is, that's an organization down in Annapolis that helps cities with information, helps promote legislation that could be passed in the General Assembly that helps cities. It's a resource for cities, grants and all that stuff. And they meet quarterly around the area, the Harford County, Cecil County chapter. And every year they usually have a convention in Ocean City where they have workshops and classes where people can learn about budgets and writing laws and things like that. And Councilmember Martin had an affinity for that stuff. He loved it. He served in different offices for Maryland Municipal League, and he would always represent us really well, and I was grateful for that. He was very good at showing up for all his commission and committee assignments. He was excellent at showing up for events around the town. He supported almost every cause that he could, and I'll tell you what, if there was a fundraiser in the city of Havre de Grace that had a costume theme to it, Councilmember Martin wore the costume. So we will always love Dave for that. So he's not here, but I had my chance the other day to give my goodbyes and farewells to Councilmember Martin. I'm sure my other colleagues will say a few words in a moment. But now I go turn my thoughts to Councilmember Zinner, who I had the privilege to appoint in 2018 when Councilmember Monica Rawls stepped down from her seat. I met Councilmember Zinner just a few years before that when things started really moving with the hospital and the plans that Upper Chesapeake had were presented to the city of Havre de Grace about what they wanted to do at the hospital and where they were building and the services provided that they were going to deliver to the citizens. And Councilmember Zinner, who has a background in healthcare, reached out to me, and that's when I first met Councilmember Zinner. And really started putting some ideas in my mind and other people's minds of questions we should be asking. And we regularly communicated, and she got involved with the city and spoke, I wouldn't say spoke out, or spoke against, but just spoke out about holding people accountable. And when it comes to health care, you know, there's no Democrat, Republican when it comes to health care. There's no, fiscally conservative or fiscally thrifty. I mean, health care is health care. All we care about is picking up that phone, getting an ambulance, and having the person we love get the best care we can. And Councilmember Zinner helped me very much, and this council at the time, to educate us on those things. And rolled her sleeves up and immersed herself in our community. And when Monica Rawls stepped down, and I wanted to put someone who I thought was highly intelligent, very capable in that seat, I asked Carolyn Zinner, and she accepted, and I was very grateful that you did. And I remember 2 years ago, you came to me in my office, and you told me you weren't sure you're going to run again for the election 2 years ago. Now, I asked Councilmember Zinner, I said, why don't you want to run again? And she said, well, I don't feel like I've done anything. I mean, I haven't written laws, and I said, stop right there. I said, you've done a lot. You listen to every constituent, you email everybody back, you call people, you show up to every meeting, work session, you show up to your commission meetings, everything, committee meetings, you show up to events. And that's what representing your citizens is about. It's not about how many laws you write. It's about representing, because you ask the tough questions in public and behind closed doors. You will ask the questions. And that's what representing people mean, and the city of Havre de Grace means. Anybody can write laws. Some of the laws that are on the agenda from time to time, the ordinances, are generated by council members. A lot of them are generated by the administration because mostly they're housekeeping laws, tax rates, or contracts, leases, things like that. But at the end of the day, Councilmember Zinner, in your time on council, you have done a heck of a lot for the citizens of Havre de Grace. And I've often said, and I know Mr. Gamatori can vouch this, we've said this a lot, you are the model council member, in my opinion. You are a citizen that steps up and you serve. And there's nothing greater you can do than that. Because this whole government depends on citizens saying, hey, you know what? I think I got something to offer my citizens. I think I'd like to run for council. I think I can help them. And at that point, it's up to democracy. And twice democracy has said, Councilmember Zinner, you're doing a great job. And I know you know it's time when you wanted to step down. And I'm not going to argue with you because I know you have a lot on your plate that you want to do. But you are the model council member. You really are. And it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you. I mean that. And so I hope you stay involved. And I know that you want to drive the trolleys. So I might know somebody to expedite your application to the top of the list. But just remember, there's a little sidestep on the right side of that. Okay, never mind. All right, but besides that, like I said, I know your council colleagues will say some words, but again, it's been an honor and a privilege. I couldn't be more proud to know you and to serve with you. And I really hope what I just said a minute ago just kind of shed some light to your fellow citizens, what you did for them. And maybe when you're out at a bar one night, maybe somebody come up to you and buy a glass of wine. So for your service. So, but anyway, with that said, I'm going to move my comments over to the council. Councilmember Shenegis.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, elected officials, audience, and audience at home. Thank you for coming out tonight. It's a very wonderful time for our city. Things are changing, and we have new officials to welcome in and those to commend for their service. I thank you, Carolyn Zinner, so much for all of your help and expertise along the way as I was had a desire to become a council member, and I appreciate you guiding me. And I just thank you so much for all the service that you've given to our citizens. You're welcome. And citizens, I want to thank you for coming out and voting yes for our city to transfer property to Habitat for Humanity so that we have 3 homeowners that will be eligible to have a house. Thank you so much, and I wish everyone the best, even Dave Martin out there cruising away. Thank you, too, for your service. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilor Snegas. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So it's going to be everybody jump on the bandwagon day for Carolyn. Carolyn, thank you so much. I know this past year has been very challenging for you. Actually, the past 2 years have been really challenging for you. A lot has happened. And throughout it all, the grace and dignity and commitment that you've had for not only all of our neighbors, people who we serve, our citizens, but also to your colleagues on council. I've really appreciated working with you. And I know we're going to continue to work together on multiple things moving forward, and I really, really look forward to that. So thank you so much for your service. And Dave, he is absolutely Mr. MML, and I don't really know which one of us is going to have to pick up the bucket to carry everything that he did on the Maryland Municipal League. But hopefully all of us can work together, and by dividing it up, we can make it so that it's not as heavy a load. He really did do a lot to represent us and service at the state level to make sure that a small town, and you jump off of I-95 and there we are, that we were heard and considered in Annapolis when they were talking about pretty large topics that we can easily be lost on. I think of specifically the Highway User Fund is one thing that he made sure that our delegates sitting in the audience and others heard on how important it is and how much we rely on it. So I'm going to miss him, but I also know that he has already made a full itinerary for the next couple of years on places that he wants to see and things to do, and I'm sure we'll see him riding through town on his Harley. It is a Harley, right? Okay, and a Harley. I'm not a motorcycle girl. And other than that, I want to thank everybody for a wonderful Mother's Day and the celebration around town. It was really pretty. And I want to let you all know that I'm very proud of my daughter for graduating on Saturday from St. Mary's. So that's our big announcement for our family. We're really excited, and she needs a job. So that's it. And an apartment. She needs an apartment too. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer, for your comments. Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. It's good to see this place full. Very good. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Carolyn, I mean, what could I say that hasn't been said? I mean, you're like, you've been the one person that I can always count on to be well-read on the material, when you get up here and, to have a decision point and to stick with that. And there's a lot to be said about that. So, I'm going to miss you. You've been my wingman. I've learned a lot from you, sitting up here. And I'm really fortunate to call you a friend and colleague. So thank you for all that you do and all that you've done for the city and all that you're going to continue to do driving that trolley. Yeah, I can't think of a better ambassador. So, Dave, I know that you're on a cruise right now, but I also know that you got the internet package just so that you could watch this meeting in real time. Gonna miss you, man. And, we've already talked and chatted and all, but want to thank you for your service and your time here. And now I hope you just go and enjoy your time with your lovely wife and with your family. Mr. Mayor, I'll save the rest of my comments for the end of the evening.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Council President Ringsacker.
I've said it before, one of the worst parts about going last is there's nothing original to say. It's so tough because everything's covered. We talked about how everybody thought that Dave was your dad. It's actually how I met him. I was wearing a campaign shirt for him, and we got seated together at an event for up at the community center. Remember what it was? It was a Lions Club. We were up there, and all night long, people kept on coming up to me and calling, thinking I was his dad, his son, that is. And so ever since then, since 2015, I've known his wife as mom, and his dad is him as dad, and he still calls me son, and he's in my phone as dad. She's in my phone as mom. So on Mother's Day, I had to figure out who I was calling. But he's always been the guy where I can literally tell you he calls me 3 times a day. If he has a question about anything, and his involvement so much in this community has been absolutely stellar, that he just wants to know more. He wants to be involved. He wants to make the right decision. And it's been just quite an honor and a pleasure serving with him. And, hopefully I'll be out there on the motorcycle with him as well. And Carolyn, I know you said I eulogized you back 4 months ago when you decided not to run, but you know how much I care about you. And again, there's not much I can say. I was trying to think, and Jason absolutely nailed it when he said that you've always been steadfast, and that you read through everything and you know how you're going to vote, and I never question how you're going to vote. There have been times where we don't vote the same way, but I always know where you're going to vote, and I really appreciate that in a legislator, in knowing that you studied, you came up with your decision, and you're unwavering. And that meant a lot to me, because I take pride in what I do up here, and I know you do as well. And you've been an absolute pleasure to serve with, and I'll buy you that glass of wine. Oh, and I apologize, Mr. Mayor. Before we go into sine die, I do need to make a friendly amendment on the agenda.
All right, lay it on me.
Page 1, the very first 2, the numbers got mixed up. The ordinances are still there. They're fine, actually, on the agenda packet. So the first one is actually ordinance 294. And the second one is 293. So after that, Mr. Mayor, is a friendly amendment.
You're talking about the public hearing?
Public hearing, yes.
All right, it should have been 294 first and 293 first?
Yeah, 293 second. So we just need to associate the numbers with the correct ordinance. It's incorrect on the agenda. It is correct on the council packet and online.
Okay, all right. Not a problem. Duly noted. Thank you, Council President. Any further comments, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Councilmember Zinner.
Speaker on, so I'm not getting waved at. And members of the audience, again, it's really nice to see so many seats filled. And people at home, I'm not really sure what to say. I sent a goodbye to the team today, all the members of council and employees, thanking them for their service to the city because they do such a wonderful job. But I need to thank everyone for their friendship and their support and helping me hold my life together this year. I'm leaving not because I didn't think I couldn't do the job anymore. I'm leaving because I don't know what I want to do. So I want to try some other things. And I don't want to shortchange anyone. So I don't want to give a commitment for 2 more years that maybe I can't keep. So I'm at peace with this decision. I'm going to miss everyone. But I'll never forget the friendships and especially the support when I really needed it the most and still continue to need it. I didn't know that Dave was going to go on a cruise, or I would have spoken to him before that. But the one thing I can honestly say, last year I struggled and I stayed. And there were times that I regretted it. Not because of anyone here, but because of personal circumstances. I hope that Dave is enjoying himself and that he sees that there are other things besides doing this work, as worthy as it is and as important as it is. And that he may regret right now the way the vote turned out, but I hope in weeks or months to come he understands that there was a reason for it and that everything happens for a reason and decisions are never made in a vacuum. So I shall miss you all, and especially Steve. We've become very good buddies over my parking. But I can only get better, right? I drive down the street, and if I see him, I wave, and I say, check the parking. So he knows when I've done a good job or when I haven't. Anyway, I'm going to be talking myself out of a job pretty soon if I keep this up. But to the new members of council, I wish you so much good luck. And it's just a wonderful learning opportunity, but it's also such an opportunity to meet new people, to be embraced even more than you may feel now by the town, and to know that you have their support in times of need. So I think I've said enough. I want to again say thank you, and I really appreciate everything everyone's said to me and my experience. I can't believe it's been 4.5 years. They went so fast. Sometimes it didn't seem that way, but here we are. I'm 4.5 years older. So, thanks again. Appreciate it. One last thing. On my first meeting, I was first on this list, and I kept looking at that, and I was so nervous. I thought, what am I going to say? But tonight I didn't have any problems.
You did well.
Thank you.
But you're really not the last tonight. There's someone who's going to speak after you. Somebody made a video. Adam?
Today marks my final day as a non-member of the Havre Grace City Council. Debbie and I chose to make Havre Grace our home because of the diversity and acceptance of all, whether it be economic, racial, religious, or lifestyle. The continued growth, development, and recognition of Havre Grace's historic diversity as a place for arts, entertainment, work, industry, housing, and education parity is amazing. Special recognition to Mayor Bill Martin, the late Mayor Wayne Dougherty, and former Mayor John Ferrari Jr. I want to thank you for your suggestion and supporting me to become involved with the City Council back in 2014. Your guidance gave me the courage to get involved and make a difference. Jimmy, Jason, Casey, Tammy, even when we had contentious discussions on the dais, your friendship and compassion remained unwavering. Your desire to ensure the citizens had a voice and that we saw both sides of a question or concern is commendable. Thank you for your continued service. To the men and volunteers of the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps, the Susquehanna Hose Company that continue to make Havre Grace so special, thank you for your time. As a retired trooper, I'm especially proud to be able to call Chief Teresa Walter a friend. Her leadership and the dedication of the men and women of Havre Grace Police Department, who continue to make Havre Grace a walkable city, one of the safest cities in Maryland and the nation, and one of the best places to live in Maryland. There are so many more I wish to thank for their time and their valuable service to the community. I want to wish the new council members, Johnny Boker, Vicki Jones, success. Tonight, may God bless and take care of everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, council members, for your great comments, near and far. And before we drop the gavel, Carolyn, would you please join me with any other council members down in the well? So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a tradition when a council member has served their time on the Havre City Council, we usually give them a gift. It's tiered. So if you serve 2 years, you get something, 4 years, you get something. It's like a gift catalog. I'm kidding, I'm joking.
Where's Chris Ritchie when you need him?
I know. It's like the joke among City Hall. Well, you served 12 years, so you get line at A, item C. You know, no, actually, a long time ago, I mean, I'm talking 15 years ago, everybody got a crystal vase, whether you wanted one or not. But this time we thought we would give you something that is very representative of our city in general, and I think everybody deserves one to do so. It gives us great pleasure to present you with this gift.
Feels like an animal. Oh, a mallard. Canvasback? Okay.
Go.
That is beautiful.
Got it?
Who did it? Outside.
Jobs.
Lovely.
Councilmember Ringsacker, what kind of decoy is that? Sir, that is a canvasback. That's a canvasback.
Okay.
That is a non-gun. So, Councilmember Zinner, from the citizens of Havre de Grace and your colleagues on the council, as well as the staff from City Hall, please accept this decoy made by a local Havre de Grace carver, Mr. Jobs.
Wonderful.
Harry Jobs. Anyway, on our behalf. So thank you very much for your service. And
Lovely.
anything else you want to say to our friends before we drop the gavel?
Every time you look at it, remember his phone.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the other two council members elected
Absolutely.
take up any more of your time. Thank you so much. It's lovely. I have a wonderful three-quarter size carved duck at home.
Perfect.
Fawn,
We have a
not
stand in there for you as well.
Oh, great. So that they
One last favor, can we all get a picture with you?
We switched our names. They were.
Carolyn, you want to take your seat for one last time? You got to take one more vote. Ladies and gentlemen, what happens at this point is I will make a motion for council to adjourn sine die, which means we close this legislative session that started last May 2022 and ends this evening. And then we will say farewell to our departing council members, and we will welcome our two new council members to the council. And all three councils will be sworn in for their 2-year term. And I want to thank all the council for all the hard work they've done in the last year. I think it's been a very productive year. It's been one of the more normal year since we've crawled out of the COVID era, and we're getting things back rolling. So with that said, Councilmember Zinner, may I have a motion to adjourn CNADA?
I make a motion to adjourn CNADA.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by the Council President. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay? I had to do it one last
Against
time.
your own motion?
Motion to adjourn this legislative session, CNADA, is approved 4-1 in favor. Time is now 8:24, and I end this session.
This pen writes, shall I do it?
Thing out of here.
CNADA? Signed die?
I'm so tired, I'm thinking. What I really need is food. I haven't had peanut butter.
Don't forget your those are best like open collar.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Bill, where'd you get that Bible? I got mine. It's probably displayed. Noble. There you go. Ball duck. Oh, look at that. Wow. Gunther. Yeah, Vincent. Yeah, yeah. William. Anyway, go there. I'll tell you, this is. Square encompasses.
Perfect. Throw the hand on the Bible. Okay, ready? Mr. Boker, congratulations on your election to serve the Havre de Grace City Council. We're now going to take the oath of office. I ask you to raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. I'm going to say the word I. When I say the word I, please repeat the word I, but also say your name.
I, Johnny Boker,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
a requirement
every requirement
of the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I am about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws
and
thereof,
laws thereof,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member
as a member
of the Havre de Grace City Council
of the City of Havre de Grace Council,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Mr. Boger. If you want to step over here. We'll take pictures in 1 second behind.
That's really the only reason I ran, because I didn't feel like.
When you look back on all the pictures, there's always a council member there.
Happy you're not making faces. Johnny.
So what we'll do first is we'll take
Want me to stand?
Big congratulations on your election to the Havre de Grace City Council. We're going to take the oath of office.
Thanks.
We're going to take that oath of office. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. That's perfect. The first test. I'm going to say the word I. Please repeat the word I, but also your name. I
I, Vicki Jones,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
the requirement
the requirement
of the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Havre de Grace City Council
the Havre de Grace City Council
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
wear his wedding ring, too.
Councilmember Robertson, congratulations on your election to a re-election to Havre City Council. I want to say the word "I," and I say the word "I." Please repeat after me. Please raise your right hand. I
I, Jason Robertson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
the requirement
the requirement
of the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I'll be faithful
that I'll be faithful,
and bear true allegiance
bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
laws thereof,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Havre City Council
the Havre de Grace City Council
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Councilman.
Thanks.
Call to order a meeting of the 2023-2024 Havre City Council. The time is now 8:45 p.m. Councilmember Ringsider.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Booker.
Here.
Councilmember Schmigus.
Here.
Item 20 is I will ask council for a motion to move into closed session. Election of the council president.
Mr. Mayor?
And I'll hand that off
Sure.
to Councilmember Ringsider.
Sir? I make a motion for closing a meeting under the Open Meetings Act, General Provision, Article 3-305. Motion to go into closed session upon adjournment of the open session on Monday, May 15th, 2023, to consider the following matter. Number 1, election of the City Council President pursuant to City Charter Section 24. This meeting will be closed under General Provision, Article 3-305, subsections B, subsection 1, B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. The reason for closing this meeting is the discussion surrounding the selection and appointment of the City Council President and the appointment competencies of personnel are sensitive to potentially embarrassing embarrassing to those being considered for appointment and are entitled to confidentiality. The City Council will reconvene upon session Let me start over. The City Council will reconvene open session after the closed session, and votes will be recorded in public. I made a motion, sir.
Second?
Second by Councilman Shenegis. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a motion. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a motion by Councilmember Ringsacher, second by Councilmember Shenegis. This will be for the selection of Council President. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn for the selection of Council President carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Ladies and gentlemen, we will adjourn this meeting for undetermined amount of time as the council goes into recess. When you see white smoke, that means the council president has been selected, and we wish you all the best. And if anybody is here and likes some refreshments, please join us. Thank you very much. The time is now 8:47. Welcome back to the May 15th City Council meeting. Council adjourned earlier for the selection of a council president, and now we're reconvening. The time is now 9:50 p.m. I'll do the roll call. Councilmember Boyer,
Here.
Councilmember Shenagus,
Here?
Councilmember Ringsacher,
Here.
Councilmember Jones,
Here.
Councilmember Robertson,
Here.
Councilmember Boger.
Here.
Okay. Item 23, can somebody give me a motion for the selection of a council president?
I make a motion to select Jimmy Ringsacher.
Thank you.
President.
Second?
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. This is the motion to nominate, or I'm sorry, to vote on the nomination of Councilmember Ringsacher as City Council President for the 2023-2024 council session. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson?
I apologize. I should have followed your advice, Steve, and eaten while we were back there. And I wasn't going to eat anything extra, but everybody came back with all these sandwiches full of bacon, and it just got to me. No, I do just want to say, Councilmember Ringsacher, I think you've done a tremendous job as council president. You know, you have big shoes to fill with Dave Glenn, obviously, because Dave Glenn's who he is, but I appreciate you, you know, stepping up and hearing a lot of my concerns with the communication flow and all that, and always trying to make sure that we're tracking what's going on ahead of time. And, you know, you heard our concerns in the back, and I hope that you'll continue to keep us abreast and keep doing a good job, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion to elect Councilmember Ringsacher as City Council President for 2023-2024 session carries 5-1 in the affirmative. Item 24, new business. We have a budget amendment, 2023-13. I'll hand that off to Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to approve Budget Amendment 2023-13.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Council President Ringsacher. This is a budget amendment 2023-13. Question or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sure that my fellow council members are tracking, but for the folks out in the audience and at home, this is basically just an exercise moving an expenditure line for the, or I should say, legislatively creating an expenditure line for the legal fees that were incurred in the second drawdown of the DHCD bond funding that the city drew on for the water and sewer fund. So again, this is just basically adopting an expenditure line for the legal fees that were incurred in that bond issuance, and those are to be paid for by the bond proceeds themselves.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? I will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Boyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Shenagus?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Havre Grace Budget Amendment 2023-13, authorizing spending for DHCD 2023 series bond legal fees is approved by council. Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. Okay, we're going to go to item 25, Director's Report, and we're going to start off with the Director of Administration. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council, and congratulations to the new council members, and the congratulations to the council in general. We look forward to a very productive year. I'll be brief, but what I would like to do is, Mr. Galero was here tonight, and I just really like to thank he is our new supervisor of elections, and the whole election team that we have did an outstanding job. We had the most volunteers that we've ever put together, and all of them took all the necessary training up at Harford County. So that was great, and the election went very well, and I was just very happy that Mr. Galera showed up tonight to give the report. So we're good there, and we have begun the process for the next election, which, as you know, will be during early voting next year. So there'll be some challenges as well, and we're working through those with Nick in the election group. And next, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank our team, Bambi Johnson, Bob Denton, and crew for the Defenders Day and especially the fireworks. We started the initial handoff from the Director of Administration to the events group, and it could not have been done without the great cooperation with Vulcan, Chris Scarlato, the use of his marina. That was, without him, we would not have a place to load. And then Steve Young and the members of the Susquehanna Hose Company. So truly all those stakeholders make those, the fireworks go off not only at Defenders Day, but each of the shoots that we have throughout the course of the year. So it's quite the amount of coordination and everybody on the same, literally singing off the same sheet of music. And with that, that's all I have this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gambatoria. Good evening, Mr. Borsier, Director of Planning.
Good evening, everybody, and new members. May is Preservation Month in the state of Maryland, and wanted to say that it looks like that the Colored School Museum will be the first organization to come in and be part of our preservation work in the city. We have a historic district and all those sort of things, but the Historic Preservation Commission is an advisory board of the mayor, as everybody knows. So we actually have a property that's willing to work with the Historic Preservation Commission, and we're looking forward to putting that process together. It's also part of May's Preservation Month. We're working to become a certified local government through the Maryland Department of Planning's Maryland Historical Trust. That provides us the opportunity to get funding to help with our preservation efforts. So those are just a few things that we're doing that's notable for Preservation Month of May. I'd mentioned before, we're still working on some grants that are due this month. They're almost finished. There's 2 bikeway grants through the same fund that we're looking to gather. Things look to be pretty good preliminarily in receiving those funds, so hopefully we have some good news after we finish getting those grants together. And I just want to give some, this is my 1 year being here, so thank you for keeping me around this long. It was this date a year ago where I came and met everybody and had the opportunity to meet all of you before you chose council president last time. So thanks for having me here. And just with Dave Martin, we worked together on when we were putting together the language for the long-term rental ordinance, and he had tons of notes from 5 or 6 years ago and was very involved in the process and just really helpful and excited once he was able to kind of take all those things and get going with it. And I know we'll talk about him at MML and his huge name tag with all the ribbons and funny ribbons with MML, but he was really interested in legislation. He took his own time on the recreational cannabis bill to come in and speak to all of us and then go to Annapolis and speak on the behalf of the city to make sure law enforcement had the tools that they need to be able to enforce whatever recreational cannabis law came out. So it was a real joy working with him. And Carolyn also worked with her on the long-term ordinance. And she was really inspired when she was delivering meals on Thanksgiving and saw some of the conditions that residents in and around the area were living in. And it really became a mission of hers to better the lives of people in the city. So I'm really looking forward to working with Johnny and Vicky. Whenever you're ready, please let's set up a time, come in. I can talk to you guys about planning and what we're doing. I'm really excited to hear what you were hearing from people when you were out canvassing and speaking with residents of the city, and just hearing your ideas and trying to incorporate those in planning. And if you have any bit of inspiration from the 2 people that in the chairs or you're sitting now, then you'll both do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Congratulations on your 1 year.
Thanks.
I'll have to stop calling you our new planning director. I catch myself saying all the time, like I was talking to a citizen last week, I'm like, well, reach out to Tim Boyce, he's our new planning director. I guess you've been here, you're good to go. Thank you. Thanks again. Good evening, Ms. Johnson, Director of Economic Development and Tourism.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens at home. Congratulations to our 2 new council members. I look forward to working with you in the near future. And also to Councilmember Dave Martin and Councilmember Zinner. It was a pleasure to work with both of them, and I wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. Short report from me tonight. The Maryland Main Street is celebrating its 25th year anniversary. I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. The celebration will start late summer, early fall. The city of Havre Grace will be participating. We are the 3rd oldest Main Street in the state of Maryland. That is something to be proud of. So as we plan what event we will have hosting, I think it's the Secretary of DHCD. We'll get that on everyone's calendars and move forward with that celebration. But this is a big deal. And speaking of Main Street, I submitted a grant last week in the amount of $25,000 to help fund our new part-time Main Street coordinator, Main Street and Tourism coordinator, and also a technical assistance grant in the amount of $15,000. If you remember, many years ago, probably well over a decade, the Havre Grace Chamber of Commerce used to offer classes through the SBA, Small Business Administration. They used to have an office in the downtown to assist our businesses with whatever help they needed. So I am seeking some type of funding assistance to bring those resources back, whether we hire an outside consultant or at least someone in the expert field of whatever the need is. We are also pursuing several grant opportunities for community legacy, a demolition grant, additional CDBG funding. There is a whole list. So we have 8 grants that are due before the end of August. So you can always find us seeking additional funding opportunities. The contract has been sent to the vendor who is going to build the pier at the foot of Green Street. The construction is estimated to start in November. Over the next couple of months, we're going to work on obtaining the permits needed to build the pier and ordering materials. As the mayor stated earlier, inflation has driven up the cost of this project, so hopefully we'll be able to deliver on time and within budget. That's a hint, George. Okay. EDAB and the Economic Development Advisory Board and the Tourism Advisory Board both meet this Wednesday. TAB meets at 10 a.m. here in council chambers. Those meetings are open to the public, and EDAB meets in council chambers at 4 p.m., and that meeting is open to the public as well, as it is every month. Under tourism, we had a very successful First Fridays last week, May 5th. We enjoyed it. We wanted to say a special shout out to our volunteers. We could not pull First Fridays off without the volunteers that we have in the city of Havre Grace. Also, thank you to our police department and DPW, who always do a great job taking care of us. A special thank you to Paul Jr., with the TV show American Chopper. He visited our city. He delivered a custom-made bike to the owner of Reliable Scaffolding and Shoring Services. It was a fun event. We've got some additional followers on all of our social media pages, and it was just a really good event, so we thank him for that. We have 2 historic ships visiting the city of Havre Grace. The Pride of Baltimore will be docked at Hutchins Park on June 2nd. And the Maryland, June 2nd through June 4th. The Maryland Dove will be docked at Hutchins Park, June 24th through the 25th. And First Fridays is coming around again, because it's the first Friday of every month, so the next one is June 2nd, and we hope to see you there. If there are no questions, I will go silent.
Thank you very much. Bridget, any questions for Ms. Johnson? Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Doherty, Director of Finance.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'll echo the sentiments of my peers that have preceded me. Welcome to the new council, and the best of luck to the retiring council. Hopefully, they don't become strangers at City Hall. because they have a lot of knowledge and insight that's very valuable. Thank you, council, for approving the budget amendment. It's always good to approve the legal fees that we incur, just as a general rule. Okay, now for the current status of the major funds. The general fund, since my last report, declined about $85,000. It sits at a little over $3.6 million. It is still at about $1.8 million ahead of the budget at this time, so we're doing well there. We had revenues of about $460,000 and expenses of about $545,000, hence the decline in the balance. The water sewer fund is down $215,000 almost since my last report to just under $1.1 million. We are a lot of that has to do with, we still haven't recorded the water meter billing because of delays, because of malfunctioning equipment and the amount of manpower it takes to go out and read those things manually. So we should have it done by the end of this week, and so my next report will be back online. We estimate that while we're down below budget $840,000, there's well over $900,000 in unbilled revenues, which will bring us back over the top where we were before. In terms of the Marina Fund, it declined $245,000 primarily because of spending on the fuel tanks that have been moving forward, so it's a good thing. And it really has been anticipated by the budget. We were supposed to spend about $220, so we did a little bit more than we thought we would, but it's fine. It's a timing issue, the difference between those. There's no inherent reason that we expect it to continue. It should be fine. And that is the 50,000-foot view of my report for this evening, sir.
Thank you very much, George. I appreciate it. Council, any questions for Mr. DeHorty? George, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Melizer, Director of DPW.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, council members, citizens. Congratulations to the new council members. Same goes with Mr. Tim Borsier. Office is right down there, always open, so willing to field any questions. So congratulations. Nice having you. First, I want to talk about some of the prep for the Lafayette sidewalk, which is good news. Next, talk about a few project updates, and then thank you to the former council members. So we're working this week to wrap up on the preparations for the new sidewalk on Lafayette Market Street. That's going to connect that area from the Maritime Museum to Market Street. Looking forward to that connectivity and walkability of the city. A few project updates, several ongoing projects around the city, such as solid handling facilities, scum line, wastewater treatment plant, BG&E gas line. They did do work on the 8th and the 9th on Revolution and Lewis there. That's good news. And they're going to be working tomorrow, and then PPS is going to be backfilling Crush and Run Wednesday. So all good news. Of course, National Guard Pump Station, happy to report, is fully operational. We voted on that a few meetings ago. And as George mentioned, the fuel tanks at the yacht basin are coming along. They have a new raised deck, fuel dispensers, power line, and a new base layer down if you drove by earlier today. So all good news. Waiting for that top coat to finish off, and then we'll be, if all goes well, selling fuel and have business as usual down at the marina by the end of the week. Lastly, just another thank you to Councilmember Zinner, Councilmember Martin for, I've been here about 9 months, Tim mentioned a year, and nothing but excellent things to say about both of them. They've been utmost professional, working with them on the committees and the commissions, and looking forward to seeing those new trolleys with Councilmember Zinner in there. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melizer. Any questions for Director of DPW? Thank you, sir. And good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and new council members. Congratulations. And Jason, congratulations on your return. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you all. As my colleagues have said, the door is always open. Even if you'd like to do a little ride along with us, we'd be more than happy. No. Yeah, okay, very good. We can make all those arrangements. So But that doesn't mean that you get to drive, Vicki. I know you want to put that siren on. I know you do. I know that you really do. But no, we're more than happy to have you all with us. So I just wanted to mention that today on May the 15th is actually Peace Officer Memorial Day. And this is something that we celebrate, or not necessarily celebrate, but we recognize every year. And what most people don't understand that in 1962, President John F. Kennedy had designated May the 15th as Police Officer Memorial Day. But we actually didn't really recognize it until 1982. So we've had about 42 years of honoring police officers who have given their life while doing their job. And unfortunately, the numbers still kind of grow when we come to officers that have lost their lives. But I'll be honest, I feel very, very fortunate here in the city of Havre de Grace. We have tremendous community support. We've got tremendous citizens, and I know our officers really do appreciate our city and our elected officials, because I know you all very much support us. So thank you very much. But whenever you get a chance, just think of a police officer and just do a real quick prayer. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. So I also want to thank DPW, because last week we were off the hook busy with Defenders Day and First Fridays, and if you can think of it, I think we had it all last weekend. So DPW was really hustling, as well as the police department. So I think everybody did a really, really great job last week. And finally, one of our lieutenants is retiring, Lieutenant Humphrey. He's retiring at the end of this month. He's the guy you'll see that has the biggest smile on his face anywhere in the city. So, but I tell you this because we also have completed a promotional process for somebody to get promoted, and Mayor, you will learn the results probably within the next day or two. And that will be my report.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Any questions for the Chief?
I had one, I can't remember.
Thank you. Chief, I have a question for you. One of the things that seems to be plaguing our city right now, it's getting really, really bad, is graffiti.
Yes, sir.
So just real quick, what's the status on that? I mean, it's been, like I say, it seems like we clean it off, and then overnight we get 20 more tags.
Absolutely. We've gotten some tips from different sources on who it could be or what groups it could be or anything like that. So we do have investigators looking into those things. But we still encourage people, if you do see the graffiti, to give us a call so we can document it, get it cleaned up, you know, that type of thing. So, yeah, and unfortunately, we're not the only ones that is experiencing that. It's pretty much across the board here in the county.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And like I said, Havre de Grace is an arts and entertainment city. We love the arts. But there's a place for that kind of stuff. It's not on our trash cans. It's not on our benches. It's not on our promenade. And so, like I said, I'm reaching out to citizens. If you're watching this and you see something, say something, please reach out to police to help us identify who's doing this, because, you know, we take a lot of pride in keeping our city look beautiful. And when persons or people in general spray paint our objects, our employees have to spend a lot of time to clean them up. We're not just going to let them sit there and look like that. We're going to clean it up. But then they come right back at it and do it again. So I know that the police are very capable eventually of tracking who's doing this. But again, if any citizens are aware, please reach out to the police.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Casey.
Casey? I'm sorry. Councilmember Boyer.
Are they is it the graffiti being done with regular can spray paint, or is it with more paint pens? Do you all know?
It's both. Yeah, it's been a different kind of
medium. So that people know what to look for.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. But no, it could be one thing one day and another thing the next day.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor, I have seen Jimmy Burrell painting on the walls.
Touche. Well, like I said, if you see something, say something. Thank you again, Chief. We'll go to comments from Mayor. Just a few things I want to talk about. Last weekend, my oh my, last weekend was quite the weekend here in Havre de Grace. We started off with a wonderful First Fridays. We were blessed with great weather. We had a special visitor from American Choppers. You may know him if you used to watch cable television. Paul Tuttle Jr. Built a motorcycle for the owner of the scaffolding business on the corner of Green Street and Washington Street. And basically, if you know how this works, you meet with the designer, Paul Tuttle Jr., and you just tell him basically what you do for a living, and he'll ask you all kind of questions about your job and background, and then he uses his own creative resources to create a motorcycle. And this motorcycle that was created and displayed at First Friday was very unique. It basically looks like scaffolding. It has no muffler, which is very interesting. The scaffolding, the pipes are the muffler. It's a very interesting motorcycle that I believe will be on display at his business. So stop by if you get a chance. It's great. And the owner, Frank, is awesome. Is an awesome guy, and we love having his business here in Havre de Grace. But overall, First Fridays was wonderful. We appreciate all the families that came out and had a good time. We also had on Saturday the Decoy Festival, which happens every year. We had the Defenders Day. We had the Reptile Show at the community center, which was over 700 cars. We had concerts at the State Theater. We had concerts at the Star Center that night. It truly was an amazing city and our weekend for our city. And we always say that we're a city. Cities can handle multiple events. But, that goes off with great volunteer work and organizations, but also goes off with good planning from my staff, with work from Department of Public Works, and especially the work from the police department to make sure that all the citizens that come to our city to enjoy all of our events and have a good time and not a bad experience. So thank you to all my staff members who make this possible and administration. Thank you. Congratulations to the class of 2023. The seniors' last day at school is Thursday, the 25th. I know that because my daughter is one of them. So she's very excited. She only has a few days left of school. I know that. I also want to say thank you to Dina Caldwell and the members of the Havre de Grace Decoy Museum. Saturday rained all day long. And that was also the prom for the kids who were Havre de Grace High School graduates. And if you understand how the prom works here in Havre de Grace, the law says you have to go down to the lighthouse, get your pictures taken. It's every year tradition. Even if you don't live in Havre de Grace, you have to do it. But anyway, everybody goes down. It's been a tradition for years. Everybody goes down to the lighthouse, gets their pictures taken. And it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And all these young adults were dressed up very nicely with nowhere to go. And they got a phone call from Mrs. Dina Caldwell that says, come on down to the Decoy Museum. We're opening it up for everybody. And all these families just crashed that wonderful area, that wonderful building, and got beautiful pictures with decoys in the background. And I couldn't think of a more Havre de Grace prom. I mean, ducks everywhere. So thank you very much to the Decoy Museum for, again, this is just another example of what it means to live in Havre de Grace. So they stepped up, and I'm sure if they didn't do it, then somebody else would have done it. So thank you, Decoy Museum. Monday the 29th is Memorial Day. We won't meet again until after that. So I know the American Legion always does events up at Angel Hill around 9 o'clock in the morning. And please be, if you're not doing anything on Memorial Day, please stop by Tidings Park at 11 o'clock for the Memorial Day service. Am I right about Angel Hill?
Yeah, 09 Angel Hill, 1100 at Tidings, I'm sorry, for Memorial at Tidings. But this year at 10:30, we'll be doing a little something at the...
Okay. 9 o'clock Angel Hill and 10:30 Gold Star and 11 o'clock Tidings Memorial Park. Okay. I'm sure either one of you will talk more about it. So, right? Okay. So listen, with that said, I want to again thank Councilmember Zinner and Councilmember Martin for their service to the city of Havre de Grace. Also welcome Councilmember Jones and Councilmember Boker. And thank all the other council members and my staff for all their support this past year. We're looking forward to a good legislative session. There is a lot of stuff coming down the pike. There's no time for the weary. We got a lot to handle, and I promise you that the best is yet to come. So, With that said, I'll move on to council comments. And Councilmember Boyer, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you. Congratulations, Jason, for being back. Johnny, I just want to say something really quickly about Johnny. So when I first moved here and had the house built, and it was crazy. And the one thing I wasn't able to do really to get done as far as the build was the landscaping. And I would be out there working in the dirt, covered in dirt, lots of dirt. There's no grass. It was all dirt and lots of, like, you can't imagine how many rocks and cement. And I had run out of money, and the one person who would always stop by and help me was Johnny Boker. And he would help me pull out these rocks out of that yard that were enormous, and help me figure out how to grade it so that it was flat. I never even thought that you could use a long board to go and make it straight. I mean, it was brilliant. But all along the way, Johnny Boker always stood up and helped me whenever I needed something. He was my angel when I needed him. So I'm super excited to be sitting on council with you. Thank you. And Vicki, I am so excited. You know, what was just joyous about today was seeing so many people up here to celebrate you and the success, and everybody was just that energy, and I hope that energy just comes forward and we get pull more people in to work on our commissions and get involved in the city. You know, we are a city of volunteers, and definitely it looks like you are networked into a group of people who like to get something done. So I'm really looking forward to the next 2 years sitting here with you. So you were talking, Mayor, about the weekend with Defenders Day and our First Fridays. Well, that Saturday was the farmers market, and I was there with the green team. We were selling our compost that our city had made, and one thing that struck me was as the people were going by, and I'm really trying to hawk the compost, and we sold out of the compost eventually, but more than 50% of the people who stopped by and I talked to at the farmers market at our booth were not from Havre Grace. They weren't even from Harford County, although a good number of people were from Bel Air, etc. I stopped and I talked to people from Lancaster, Philadelphia, DC. All had just come because, you know, they heard that there was a lot of things happening this weekend. So I was shocked that many people came that were not from the area just to the farmers market alone. It was just a great day. And of course, you know, the bread line was absolutely crazy. And they did a great job. So that was just something of note that I think people you never know. I really didn't think of that as a big tourist draw, but on that day it really was. Speaking of the green team, you know, we are a bee city. And I want to let everyone know that on the 18th of May at 7 p.m. at the Opera House, the green team will be showing their next movie, which is My Garden of 1,000 Bees. You're going to sense a theme with the green team over the next couple of months, that it's a lot of bee-oriented things, from the pollinator garden to the bee theme for the Independence Day entry. So we all talked about that at the annual meeting. And then finally, I just want to bring something up to note. It's been pointed out to me by a couple of people, and I drove by it just the other day. On the corner, what I call the crazy intersection by the Waffle House, there is an electric pole, and I know it's not one of ours because, well, we're not responsible for it, but I think it's something that we need to engage in conversation, because it now looks like more than half of the pole is now missing. I know that's one of the places where as the trucks drive through, they just narrowly miss. They skim it, they rub up against it, and it's like, it looks like more than half of it is now missing. I don't know whether it's possible for us to somehow work with the landowners in that area to get the pole maybe moved further away from that intersection. but that's just one of the many problems within that intersection that needs to be dealt with. So just wanted to bring that up, make sure people were aware of it. And that's it. Again, I'm looking forward to serving with you all. And thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Shenanigans.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Our new council, welcome to Councilmember Jones, Councilmember Boker, and welcome back, Councilmember Robertson. Hello, directors. Again, it's wonderful to see you all, and audience that have stayed on. Thank you for coming out tonight. I just want to say thank you to Tim Borsier, our Director of Planning, for reminding me that it has been a year. My anniversary is tonight. I was sworn in a year ago. Thank you, citizens, for putting your trust in me. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you all for another year and again going forward in 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, our city is truly tremendous, and I see every part of the wheels working together, the cogs spinning, and it's just tremendous to see projects happening and going forward, and I just want to say thank you. I love being a part of the city, and everyone that's involved, please keep doing your final work, which is never done. I should say, finalizing your work and going forward onto your new projects. So thank you so much. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenanigans, and good evening, Councilmember Ringstock. I'm sorry, Councilmember Robertson.
No, we voted for him for council president, so he speaks last. Good evening. Again, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen, still here and at home. A couple things. Number one, congratulations, Vicky, Johnny, on your election. Look forward to serving with you guys. Congratulations to our council president on your reaffirmation. And of course, my esteemed colleagues to my left, your right, I look forward to continuing to serve with y'all. All right, so real quick, no Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow. Yeah, I know, George. You really were looking forward to that, huh? So no Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow. I have dinner plans with a very beautiful lady. Just to reiterate, Economic Development Advisory Board will be meeting here in council chambers on Wednesday the 17th, 4 p.m. The Youth Commission will be meeting May 25th, that's Thursday, next Thursday, back in the large conference room at 7 p.m. Memorial Day, as the mayor said, Monday the 29th, 0900 at Angel Hill. There will be like a poppy laying ceremony led by the ALA at the Gold Star at 10:30, and then 1100 at the War Memorial at Tidings Park for the wreath laying ceremony. The American Legion will also be hosting a Father's Day lunch June 18th starting at 1 p.m., which will feature the Island Jack Band Trio, and everyone's encouraged to wear their best Hawaiian shirt. Hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff like that on the grill will be available for purchase, so all proceeds go to benefit the foundation. June 3rd, the Havre de Grace Living War Memorial will actually have an exhibit at the American Legion as part of the museum pass that'll be happening throughout the summer. So if you're not aware, the museums, and I wish Carolyn were here because she could probably speak all about this, but the museums will be offering like kind of like a little stamp pass thing to go and visit all of them. It's just encouraging folks to come in, and as the part of the Living War Memorial here in Havre de Grace, the American Legion set up an exhibit that'll feature Miller Tidings World War I uniform, and a whole host of other things that have been donated to us from local Havre de Grace folks, and there will be people there to tell the story of those artifacts from their relatives that have fought in many of the wars in American history, but specifically the folks from Havre de Grace that fought in those wars. And the Matilda Kayak Run, June 24th. And I think registration for that is still available, Casey? Do you have a website people can go to for that? Yeah, all right. So I'm assuming if you're watching this right now, you're on YouTube, so you at least are computer literate enough to get to there. Just go up to the Google bar, Matilda Kayak Run, boom, and that'll get you what you need. And Mr. Mayor, that is it for me.
Councilmember Robertson, thank you very much. Good evening, Councilmember Booker.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. I appreciate that. Citizens who have tuned in today. I just want to get right to the point. I'm honored. It's a privilege to serve the citizens of Havre de Grace. It's a privilege to serve alongside my esteemed colleagues. A special thank you to my wife, Wanda Boker. I think you guys know her. She's just an absolutely fantastic person, always by my side. I want to also thank her mother, Miss Carol Simmons, who's with us today in the audience as well. And I want to keep it short and sweet. I want to send out congratulations to CP Ringsacker for your continuation. I also want to extend a congratulations to Officer Humphreys. I understand he's retiring here real soon, right? One of my favorite officers, and I do think about him very often when he's not chasing me down the street. No, he doesn't do that. And you'll hear me say this often, I want to thank the Susquehanna Hose Company for keeping us safe. I want to thank the EMS, first responders, and I want to thank the police for keeping us safe at night. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Booker. Good evening, Councilmember Jones.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Mayor. Congratulations to Johnny and to also Jason. And thank you so much to all of you for making me feel super welcome on this council. First, I want to thank all the voters and all of my supporters, those who are left in the audience, and also those who are watching at home. I want to echo something that someone said earlier, every vote matters, and that is truly the case. And I hope that going forward we see even more people come out to vote, not only in Havre de Grace, but also countywide. Before I came here, I had developed a relationship with the mayor and also with Chief Walters, and I look forward to getting to know all of you better and to also working with all of you better on this council. I do want to acknowledge and say that I feel really blessed to be here, and I say that because I am just one of 3 African Americans who have sat on this dais. And that is extremely significant. It's not lost on me. It's important, and it's also historic. I stand on the shoulders of Wardell Stansberry and Barbara Ferguson. I think I'll be very brief tonight, but those are the main things that I wanted to talk about. You can look forward to hearing from me. Lots of things that are important to me in this community, and I'll be sure to share those each time I am up here. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jones. Thank you. And the business from Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you so much. Again, welcome to the new members. That's awesome. Jason, welcome back. I look forward to this year. I think it's going to work out really well. And you guys got any questions? Feel free to ask. So the address is harfordlandtrust.org, and in the right-hand corner it says Get Involved. Click on that, Events. It takes you right to the Matilda's kayak thing. So harfordlandtrust.org. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this past week was Nurses Week, and my wife is a nurse, and she would not let me come home if I didn't mention it. So thank you, honey. So got all that. Going to the Havre de Grace Warrior Proud moment, the high school girls softball did make the playoffs against Perryville, and unfortunately they got eliminated. I think they got robbed. I saw the tag, and I think they got robbed. But it was great to see these amazing girls who, if you remember last year when we talked about them going up to Orange, Connecticut to the playoffs for softball for Little League, you know, these are the same girls that did that. And most of these girls are still on the Little League team, so they get another chance this year. So we'll see what happens, okay? So cheer on our girls out there. I would like to recognize my son Matthew, who's in the audience, working on his citizenship and the community merit badge, because he wants to be like Havre de Grace's 2 newest Eagle Scouts this past week, Ben Duff and Paul Davis from Troop 965. And I'm immensely proud of these boys. It's a lot of hard work to make it to Eagle. So, you know, congratulate to them. I did get to see a few girls get their Girl Scout Gold Award I mentioned last week. It's just been a pleasure being able to serve the youth of our community and helping all these Boy Scout troops and Girl Scout troops and Scouters worldwide. Just I've enjoyed it so much. So I'm glad to be able to give back. But as for Council President, I am extremely humbled, and you guys got some great critiques and some great advice that I'm definitely going to take into account, and we'll keep moving forward and have another great year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Council President. We're going to go to item 29 this evening. And, item 29. Item 29 is known as adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
You got to move.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Booker, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. All those in favor say aye.
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 All against adjournment say nay. Motion to adjourn carries 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is now 10:35. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few weeks.